different programs for, and it's a different protocol there.
Yeah.
And obviously, there are reasons why the protocol was changed here. I'm just wondering the difference. I'm sure you must have thought that through, but I'm just wondering why the difference.
How the difference, ma'am? Tell me.
So I do not remember the details exactly. So there
What
is
did you
one.
Yeah, yeah, go on.
So one is for 5 kilometers. Somebody who wants to reach 5 kilometers. Another person has to reach 11 kilometers. Another person has to reach 22 kilometers, and it's very comparable. It's not very different. It's very comparable between those three protocols as well.
Yeah.
So hence the question.
So there, the idea was we were trying to cater to anyone, everyone who wants to get started, and it was longer duration.
Right, 100 days.
Whereas, and again, similar to what we have here as a beginner, intermediate, and advanced, the idea was here it is only purely 5K. And then saying, if you want to be a beginner, you've done nothing, or you're not doing anything right now, maybe for intermediate, you do a little bit. For advanced, you already do the distance, but let's make it faster, that kind of a thing. Whereas there, the whole thing was if you haven't done much, the 0 to 5 is the program for you. But if you've done 5, then that's actually 11-kilometer program.
Right.
And if you've already done 11, hence the 21 or 22 actually. So yeah, very different actually if you think about it.
Got it. And one final question before everyone joins. Uh, so I do believe I'll be able to reach where I want to reach by this end of the program. Fingers crossed. Anywhere I reach, I think it's the very fact that I'm able to do it for the specified dates. It's a success already. But I, how do I say? If I have bigger goals after
Yeah,
this program,
of course.
and I would want to follow up, because what really mattered today was what pushed me out was I have to post on the group on a very, very frank note. Otherwise, I would have slipped in.
Yeah.
So connecting in the group is helping a lot.
And so honestly, today's session is just about what you said,
Okay, perfect.
because the as much Manmohan had mentioned in the morning, like people are already doing the fives and all that. Um, that is a problem as well, because people then start doing too much. They're like,
Yes,
we are Superman and Wonder Woman and all that.
yes.
So idea is we need to stay grounded, and we will do wonders then.
Okay,
So yeah, that's the whole idea today. That's all I want to do is slow is smooth kind of a thing.
sounds good. I'll let you start the session.
Yeah, yeah. Amit, Meenakshi, Manmohan, give me a minute. Good evening, everyone. We'll just start in a minute or two. It's 7:32. One more minute, and we start.
Sure.
Again, do you know any questions yet this week? I was traveling. I don't know. Okay.
I have one more question.
Please, please.
So one of the very interesting things in the books that you mentioned was, because pace is an important thing for me. I know it's not necessary that it happens now; it can come later. But one of the things that mentioned was it's about breathing. With breathing right, forget the muscles being strong and everything else. If we breathe right, then the heart, uh, for some reason, not for some reason, I'm sure there's a reason, you can start running faster. The pace increases. And I was of the opinion it's mostly to do with strengthening your legs, strengthening your back, strengthening your body, in fact. And now when I hear that it's breathing, I'm just wondering, how does that happen? Why is it the breathing and not the strength? Or maybe a combination of the two.
It's combination. So, ma'am, again, I will repeat all of these things again. So, let's just do that. It's 7:33. Let me just start the session. I'll answer these three first, and then we just take it on. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. 7:34 now, actually. So let's just get started. And Anjali ma'am had three questions. Okay. So first one was, if you picked up the book at all, Ultra, Couch to 511, 22 kilometers in 100 days versus the program, what is the difference in things? So as the name says, there the plan was a 0 to 5 kilometers. That is someone who hasn't done much, is pretty much a couch potato currently. And if I'm saying 11 kilometers, that's meant for someone who's right now at a 5-ish, 3, 4, 5 kilometers, something at least. Then we can build up from there over 100 days. And the last category there was 22. If the person's done like 11, 10, that kind of a distance, crawling pace, not it doesn't matter. So that being the difference, because the program is primarily for saying a 0 to 5, the different categories, and the categories being beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So that's the major difference. My primary objective right now with this program, and probably I want to keep it that way, uh, is getting people started. That's a lot more difficult. So that's the major difference between book and the program. The question, ma'am, you asked right now, most people think the harder they try, the faster they run, or the muscle stronger and pace comes. Um, the thing is, it's tried and tested. And if you again look at Olympians and stuff, when we talk here, which was and Rishabh, so we're talking about. I'm trying to answer the question, and there's echo, and I think it's from Vishwas. Mute yourself, Vishwas. All right. So talking about the pacing, uh, the question is, if you know, is it about strengthening? Is it about running faster? I mean, where does the whole speed in the run comes from? And earlier thought was, is it just by muscle strength or is it by breathing? Is breathing the reason? Um, the interesting part is at a primary level, we make things very absolute. We say, speak truth, never say lies. But then we realize over time that, it's all shades of gray, right? There is no truth, actually, or there's no lie. So same here. I won't say it's breathing alone that makes you faster. It's not muscle alone that makes you faster. It's not training alone that makes you faster, for example. There's so many elements that needs to help you to become faster naturally. Breathing is the biggest one, or one of the big ones that most people underestimate. Again, I'll repeat, and it's totally fine. These questions are very important. So it's being repetitive, but please, it's important. So when we breathe right, uh, we are helping that oxygen to be taken into the system from the air. Otherwise, that breathing that you've done is very shallow. So you've taken that breath, but the point is, because it's very shallow, it hasn't gone to the lungs. It hasn't gone to the system. Effectively, what it does, your heart rate increases trying to take that oxygen through the system. And in that whole thing, you're getting breathless very quickly. And very soon, all that effort, all those muscles, whatever they're doing, it's being inefficient running, right? Whereas when you're breathing better, what is happening is you're becoming a very fuel efficient, let me call it machine, for example, right? You're becoming far more fuel efficient. And that's the whole session that I'll be doing. I mean, I'll keep it very short, but it's a very, very important thing I want to do today, is how by letting go, being easy is the best way to actually get faster rather than trying very hard and then not getting anywhere, right? And I've touched upon it from session one, but that's the whole point. uh, we're going a little deeper, little deeper, little deeper each time. So from that primary bit, going a little deeper into it. So again, it was Manmohan's post, and other people's today. I have done a 6.5 and a 7 and whatever else, right? Now, as I mentioned in the group as well, most of us, we are. It's like a prophecy we're trying to fulfill, that the world has told us we can't do this, we can't do that. Okay, so us being told we can't do a kilometer, we can't do a 2 kilometers nonstop, and once you break it into smaller units, it suddenly all adds up. Okay, and suddenly we are able to do, you know maybe it's only a minute I was speaking about, but suddenly what you're doing is 6 kilometers just because of a minute, right? We never looked at it that way. We always thought, oh my god, 6 kilometers or 5 kilometers. It was never about a minute. Okay, so the whole idea is, before I put on the presentation, because that becomes very boring and all that, but uh, that's the whole idea. Please keep it slow, because as you're touching these 4Ks, 5Ks, 6Ks, all those distances, what is going to happen is you'll start wanting to achieve more than. Okay, so on one hand, I'm saying you didn't believe in yourself, and here we are. Now there's a problem. The problem is now you believe too much in yourself, right? So the thing is, you're wanting to do too much too soon now, right? Now that's my bread and butter as a sports medicine doctor. When people do too much before they're ready for it, That's where I come in because most of them are common sense injuries. And luckily, common sense doesn't exist. So it's a good thing, right? For work, it's very good. Uh, so I need to keep you grounded that please, let's keep it easy, let's keep it simple, and we'll be okay, right? And again, all these three questions are the same things if you think about it, okay? Um, so um, I've shared a blog. I don't know if you I'll share it. I'll share it on, I'll share it with Gagan as well. It's on Instagram. It's on, no, not on Instagram. It's on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. It's about a blog I did. So I do this race, La Ultra, if someone doesn't know, I mean, or used to do at least. It's on a pause right now. Now, there's a quote from Messi. Messi, it's actually a footballer. He's Messi as well. But the point is, he was one of the best guys. And when he was playing his debut match, right after that, it was like, oh my God, you're a superstar. You did so wonderfully well. He was 17 years, I think 144 days old at that time. And he made a very interesting statement. He was like, I became success. It's something on the lines of I became successful suddenly over 17 years and 144 days. Now, if you think about it, what he's saying there is it's taken him 17 years, 144 days to get to where he's got to. But what the world sees is what he's done now, today. Point again is it's baby steps. It's all baby steps over the 17 years, 144 days that's got him there, right? So I kind of talk about that. And in that particular blog, I'm talking about, so my race La Ultra was a 220, originally a 222 kilometers run in Ladakh, and everyone thought it was impossible, all that. And I was talking about my run I was doing from Jodhpur to Jaisalmer. This was in 2008, and it was a marathon or more every day for 5 days. And it talks about the failures, about mistakes, about success. It talks about all of that. Very short blog, a lot of photos. And because of my Jodhpur trip, I was reminded of it. It wasn't to brag or whatever. But the whole idea is people forget those stepping stones. They just go directly to the achievements, whether yourself or whoever else. So please calm down, back off, take it easy. And one very big message again is we'll focus on one thing at a time. I mean, training is such that I'm actually addressing both. But as far as you're concerned, we'll focus one thing at a time, either distance or pace. Please don't try to do both together. Again, that's where injuries happen, right? So take it easy. Don't be in a rush. Right now, it's all about time on feet. Okay, your time on feet will keep getting faster. It's 4ish weeks you've done and all that. Compare this to the first weekend, right? You're already wherever you are. Okay, uh, but leave that part to me. From your end, it's just time on feet. Just follow what is being said. And as I've said earlier, you kind of stick on for like a month, 40 days, all that. It's already a kind of addiction that's on a good one, a positive one. Okay, what I'll do is and again, any questions on this? And because otherwise, I'll go into that very boring slide thing. It's going to be boring to a. I think Vishwas has seen it before, but for others, I'll need to keep explaining what it is. These are statistics from Delhi Half Marathon last year, and what I've done is I stood there, and I actually videoed the whole lot, 5,000 or whatever amount of, I don't remember the numbers now, but I videoed everyone who took part in it. And it started with one person I wanted to video, and or I wanted to pace him as well. And that I was like, after 2 kilometers, he was just too slow. I was like, listen, dude, I'll do something more interesting. And then I was videoing everyone, the whole lot. And then it led to the next level. Then I went into the data. I looked at each kilometer, how were they doing, and how did they finish, who lost how much time over that bit. So I did that whole analysis of if you are starting off too quick, how are you versus who started slower, and how does it change? Had the training been different? Had the running plan for the run been different? How much faster they could have been or slower they could have been, right? Uh, it's going to be a little serious stuff. I'll not try to bore. I'll try to explain as much as I can. I'm probably overcomplicating. It's not as bad, okay? But the whole idea, again, what I'm trying to say is uh, how slow makes you actually a faster runner, all right? Being slow. And I'll share a anecdote from last Sunday of a patient of mine, patient slash friend. Most patients do become friends. So he ran a 21 kilometers last Sunday. The first 10 and a half kilometers, he said the first half, he took an hour and a bit. And the next half, he took 2 hours plus. Now, that is the classic problem I see with Indian runners. Uh, Most people who do the full marathon, but it holds true for quite a few half marathoners as well. And I'm trying to fix that for you from day one. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. That please don't go there, because when that happens, that's where injuries happen, right? So someone who's taking double the amount of time for the second half, you're in trouble. I mean, you should be stopping rather than actually carrying on with that, because something's gone awfully wrong, either your training or the plan you had, and leading to whatever's happened then. Okay, so let me bore you now. 1 second. Share. Okay, window entire screen. Okay, all right. Okay, someone just say if you can see this, please. This is supposed to be week 4, not week 3.
It's visible.
Yes. Awesome. So this is a quote. I think I mentioned this earlier, or maybe not. If you want to run as fast as you can, slow down. This is a quote from a movie called The Shooter. It's a Hollywood movie, and as he's a shooter, right? And the whole, the process of taking that aim, he starts very slowly, and he becomes so good afterwards that he can do it in seconds, milliseconds, really. So that's where it comes from. But this holds true actually for running as well, right? So if you want to run as fast as you can, slow down. Actually, the quote from the movie, sorry, is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Yeah. Okay. So this I've converted to my running quote actually. And this is an interesting store there in Italy called Mota. But anyways, this guy is sitting on Milan. Actually, this is from Milan, and here is sitting on the dustbin. But the problem is everyone is wanting you to be fast without letting you recover. Okay, first the parents, then the teachers, then the employees, and finally the children, and the circle goes on, right? The point really is learn to slow down, and you'll do far better. Okay, you'll not be sleeping at work time. This chap is sleeping at work, but anyways, pacing. Okay, right. So I'll try explaining this. It's actually very simple. It's not complicated. These bars are actually of number of participants uh, who did in different times the half marathon, Delhi half marathon last year. So people who did under 1 hour 30 minutes, the 21 kilometers, were 130 people. And if you look in the red, the extreme right, people who did in 3 hours 30 minutes and above, between 3 hours 30 and 3:45, is 127 people. And bell curve, look at the bell curve, classic bell curve. People bang in the center are 215 to 230 people, right? Now that's what we've got. You don't need to remember anything. I'll not quiz you. Don't worry about it. Here, what I've done, I've basically taken the red color is for 0 to 5 kilometers, the first half, first quarter. Orange is 6 to 10. 11:15 is in green. 15:21 is in blue. Don't worry, okay? And next. So now notice the same lines that are there. What happens is, okay, I'll try explaining, okay? The 130 that are there, the gap, okay, the gap that is there between the red and the blue, okay, what that suggests is when they were running the first 0 to 5, first quarter, they were faster. Okay, just remember the first bit, 130, and the blue there. Okay, the gap between that is 19 seconds. So the first quarter pace and the last quarter pace for under 130 guys was only 19 seconds. Okay, that is the only takeaway I want from here, right? And you see the gap is increasing between the red and the blue as it moves to the right. So the slower the runner, the gap is a lot more. Okay, and you'll see it becoming really big. It's 25-second gap between the first quarter pace and the last quarter pace. Okay, and it's 29 seconds as someone is between 145 and 2. And as we keep going, look, it's a minute now. It's 56 seconds. Someone who's running in 2 hours 15 minutes and 2 hours 30 minutes between that time, the first kilometer was done minute faster than the last kilometer was run. Okay, the quarter pretty much the same thing, and they were slowing down throughout. This is only for 2 hours 15 to 2 hours 30, which is a pretty average pace for most runners out there. And as I keep moving right now, look at this. People who are taking 3 hours and 3 hours 15, the first kilometer was 7 minutes 45 seconds. The last kilometer was 9 minutes 53. I mean, to begin with, it's 7:45 is already a walking pace. I mean, with all respect to them, but the point is, by the last quarter, they are crawling. They are very slow. Okay, and look at the people who are taking 3 hours 15 minutes to 3:30 seconds, 3 minutes 30 seconds. 3 hours 15 minutes to 3 hours 30 seconds. So the gap between them is 3 minutes. Okay, notice here it was only two, and here it's already 3 minute gap. The first kilometer they did in almost 8 minutes. The last kilometer is almost in 11 minutes. 11, for God's sake, I mean, for a kilometer, right? The training is very bad. They had run sooner than they should have. They shouldn't have run the half marathon, or the plan for the race was very bad. And this is the last bit. Look at the gap here, 4 minutes. Okay, 8 minutes for the first kilometer, last kilometer in 12 minutes. Okay, they've slowed down by 4 minutes per kilometer, kind of a thing. Now, this is a repeat. And what I'm really saying is, I'm sorry, this is something in the background. I can't do anything about that. Now, notice these two graphs, okay? If I make you start slower, which is the orange line, you will end up running the last bit in green rather than the blue pace. So this is what's going to happen. And if you were to do that, all these bars that are there, notice what happens to them. They shift to the left. Okay, I'll say that again, what I just said. So effectively, if I make you start slower, over the period of time, the whole distance, average pace will be faster than what you've done earlier, right? This is what happens. It moves to the left. Okay. Now, I know I bored you with all of this, but it is very, very important we start doing this, okay, in our life, whatever this is. Okay. I'll answer these questions because I know I really, really complicated things here. All right. And how do I stop it? Stop presenting. Yes. All right. So first, any questions on what I just did? Because I'll try to make sense of what I just did. Okay. If any questions, tell me. Otherwise, I'll kind of try explaining in a simpler way.
Can I ask something here?
Yes, please. Yes.
So it's related to our plan, and since you mentioned that we need to go really, really slow. However, in the plan, there are 5 different color-coded efforts that are mentioned. How does that effort? So when I understand I need to increase my effort, what I understand is I need to increase my speed. Is my understanding correct?
You're right. You're right, ma'am. But we're doing two things there. I mean, one is, and I'm taking the question to the next level, really. So basically, when I've color coded, it already means I want you to run at a particular pace. And again, what I'm really going by is your breathing pace rather than a watch speed, right? So if you are on a Sunday, and I use the term easy peasy, I mean, maybe I should have used these terms if I didn't use earlier, but I'll say now. Sunday is a conversational pace. It's a pace, if we were running together, you should be at a pace where you can talk to me. If I were to ask you, how are you? You could very well tell me it rained a couple of days back. It's very humid today, but I'm okay. I'm still alive. That kind of a thing, right? So maybe 10, 15 words is what you kind of respond in. Now that's a Sunday run. That's an easy peasy run for me, right? Now I think it is a Tuesday when it is, or it's a Wednesday, whatever day. One of the days is like a level 4 or whatever the thing is, where I'm asking you to go faster, 6 repeats or whatever. That is the fastest bit. As much as I say fastest, it's fastest out of everything in the week. But yet, again, a very important point is your 6th repetition should be as fast as the first one. And you need to do reverse engineering. You need to kind of figure, yes, I've done the first in whatever pace, but it should be such that I can repeat the same till the 6th, right? Now, what we are catering to, I'm already kind of training you for whenever, if you were interested in a race, you don't have to ever, but if you were, and even for becoming a better runner just generally. I'm teaching you how to pace yourself, right? And it's very tricky. The best of us can't do it very well. As you noticed, even a guy who's doing it in guy girl, who's doing it in under 1 hour 30 minutes, 1 hour 30 is very decent, respectable for a half marathon. Even they were slowing down. It isn't easy to pace yourself very well, right? At an average, they were slowing down, right? And I'm talking averages there. I wasn't talking about individuals really there. It was total average, right? Uh, but as you noticed, as they cross that 2 hour 15, and how they just slow down so markedly, the initial ones are still okay, right?
Yes.
They just haven't trained well. Most people there that day were people who were probably good at a 10K run and were pathetic. I'm sorry, but most were pathetic at like a 21, right? So their homework was very poorly done at every level possible, right? And as I was trying to show, like, we could have shaved off 15 to 45 minutes for those folks just by being slow rather than being fast,
Right.
right? So yeah, just carry on and just stick with the. Okay, so again to the plans, the color coding. So the first one is the slowest,
Yeah.
is conversational pace, 10 to 15 words, is what you should be able to talk in. So it's your breathing pace. Yet again, I like to connect it to breathing rather than saying your heart rate and any of that. Forget about zones, all that. No heart rate monitors, nothing. How are you feeling? Feel factor is the most important. Everyone is taking it for granted. They're not giving enough respect to feel, right? A lot of lives could be saved, a lot of things that are happening if you went by breathing, if you went by feel. Most of those things that are going wrong in this world won't go that way if we listen to ourselves, the feel factor, right? So if you start listening to breathing, and by the way, they're very well connected to the watch and all that, not very far off, you pick it up sooner, right? So that's the first one, your easy peasy conversational pace on a Sunday. The second level is whatever color code and all that. So if this is one, the two would be a little quicker. So there you're basically able to talk a little shorter sentences, maybe 10 words or something. And the next level would be, if I were to ask you again, you'll probably be saying something in like 4, 5, 6 words. And the fastest one would be where I ask you a question, you'll be like, shut up. And, say, I'll be like, yeah, you're at the right pace, right? So those are the four categories, really. It's like a gear almost, right? So yes, there's a color coding there, and that's what it means.
So I have a question for. I'm so sorry. I know.
It's good. Yeah, tell me.
So essentially, when I run, I go really, really slow. I don't go by speed. I was like, I have to complete it. So it's a fear that by the end I will not be able to. It has happened a lot many times before that I couldn't complete and I had to stop and I'd start walking. So what I do is I just go slow. I don't increase the pace or I don't increase the feel at all. This is so I was like wondering, is that okay or a little
Yes,
pushing is okay?
both, ma'am, both. So a little pushing, yes, but how much pushing is the point?
Yeah.
So it does become tricky very easily about how much you push. Most of us don't know how much to push. Again, that's what always happens. So I would say, again, the way the program is structured, even if you weren't, and I have to be very careful saying these things. So I'm not saying don't do what I've told you. Please try doing it. Make an attempt, right? It just can't be that I can't do ever kind of a thing. No, 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 you can. You just don't know yet if you think you can't, right? Uh, but at the same time, let's be smart. If it seems like, hey, it's hurting,
Right.
hurt rather than I can't do. I can't do. Everyone says that. But if it's hurting, I'll be like, listen, yes, back off. Okay. So there's a very fine line, and we need to figure. But what I always say, whether in rehab or otherwise, our results become better, whether we're talking about a running program or a rehab. You have to keep pushing that boundary a little. You need to be a little uncomfortable, right? If you're too comfortable, no change happens. I mean, comfortable is a chair, actually, right? And AC on. No change is happening. So obviously, we want some. So that push, that whole thing about, hey, listen, on WhatsApp, I had to kind of, write what I did, and hence, there's that pressure. Whatever it takes, whatever that be,
Right.
right? But yes, push yourself a bit.
We'll do that. Thank you. That helps. I'll probably come next week with the follow-up questions, but yeah.
For sure, for sure. Yes, Rishabh.
So what I wanted to say was, I have a I have a path where 500 meters is that path is 600 meters. I do 500 meters in 5 minutes, and I've been doing it consistently, trying to maintain that 5 minutes in 500 meters. I'm not really trying to do it fast because I do not want to fail one, and then I was again scared of injury. So you are saying that we increase. So how much should I, if I'm doing 500 meters in 5 minutes, to start from the starting, from the first week itself? How much should I pace myself?
No, so Rishabh, what I would say is don't change the pace at all.
Hmm.
You're doing totally fine if you just carry on with the same that is being said. Now, what I mean by the pace part is pace will keep changing as you get better. See, you'll get better over a period of time, over 4 weeks,
Hmm.
5 weeks. The 5 minutes that you're taking for 500 meters will feel like very easy in some time.
Yeah.
You're like, what am I doing now, kind of a thing, right? I mean, why don't I try 4:45?
I started having that feeling now. In the
Precisely,
last lap also.
precisely my point. Thank you so much. So the thing is, you already are evolving in a way, right? As a runner. And that is the whole point saying don't stop yourself from going quicker if you easily can,
Okay.
right? So if it's easily coming to you that you can actually do a 4:45 or a 4:30, why not?
Mm-hmm.
All I'm really saying is, but there could be Rishabh the other way around as well. On a very humid day, 5:15 could already feel very very slow, very fast as well. It could feel like a very high intensity
Okay.
as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm saying go purely by the feel of it, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll do very well. All right.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
don't be too connected with, oh, but this is the time. If it's feeling right, just carry on. And again, so listen, I mean, I was running with heart rate monitors way back, 2003s and fours and all that stuff, when most people didn't think about running at all, right? Uh, and Rishabh, there was a time where I could tell you without a watch whether I was at like a 4 minute pace or a 4:15 and all that, right? Now, or a 3:45, whatever. And that's nothing to say about how good or bad I was. The point really is all of us have it. You already are saying actually the same thing. That, hey, listen, by the way, it's a lot easier even in the last lap. So all I'm really trying to do with this is you start listening to yourself and you start playing with that and
Mm-hmm.
be a lot less dependent on the gadgets. It's good to have gadgets, but they're secondary things. They don't should not be primary ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, just change according to the feel.
Okay. Right. I get you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you stick to the plan. You'll keep getting better at it because there are different things on different days. We are catering to four different things in the week without even realizing actually, right?
Okay.
If someone just carries on simply with that plan, I mean, you already are addressing a lot of things.
Mm. So what you told me, I was not paying too much attention to the color codes. So now I have to check the color code every morning. I'll do that more diligently.
Even even if you don't pay attention, you automatically are working on it. Yeah. So of course, pay attention will help, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I should do
I
that.
mean, I'll tell
Thanks.
you the way I do my plans and all that are catering to someone like myself. I was a backbencher. I never paid attention to color coding and any of that ever in my life. Yeah, so
Mm.
they're so foolproof actually, or at least it's intended to be. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Right. Nice. Thank you.
Thanks. So that's really it. I mean, if no question, what I'm really saying is please just keep it slow, because my main idea really is I don't want anyone getting hurt. Yes, injuries happen, all that, but can we reduce it by 90% or so? And we can. Common sense, keep it slow. Uh, One big mistake that people make is when they're running, they try going very quick. Okay, and again, there's no number to a very quick. It could very well be 5 minutes for a kilometer. It could very well be 10 minutes for someone. I don't know. Uh, but the point really is, once we've done a little bit, we're starting to compete with others and with ourselves a bit too much. And that's something we need to be very mindful of, please. Okay, uh, because people are totally getting it wrong. They're jumping from one rat race to the other, right? And a recipe for disaster. So please be careful. I'll add Manmohan. I'll come to your question, but again, when I say slow is smooth, smooth is fast, I mean that's the quote from Shooter. It wasn't what I shared. That was my version of it as a runner. But slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Now this applies in everything in running: slow breathing, slow landing. Okay, slow, you're moving your arms and all that stuff. And what's happening is, without you realizing, you're getting quicker. You're becoming, the movement is becoming smoother, right? When it becomes smooth, when that zone comes in, the smooth zone, that's where the fast comes automatically. So, it's like a bit of a bell curve kind of a thing yet again, right? So we're trying to have that little sink in between the yin and the yang kind of a thing, right? Manmohanji. Manmohan?
Yeah, yeah, Rajat. Hi.
Hi.
So when you were showing that your slide, right, and from left to right,
Yes.
and you said the people who started faster, they eventually they got slowed down by 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, right? So, but if you start slow, let's say, so will so how the pace increases there? So if you start slow, they are also ending up in the. So let's say you start slow and you complete in 8 minutes, just a random number. So is that going to be constant throughout the run, or it will increase? So how, well, means how's the curve for that basically? The only, let's say, the slope start curve, if I just say, yeah.
Yeah. So Manmohan, I'll actually just answer it in your context. Everyone here, like how does it change for you guys? So one thing is, we already are addressing the issue when I ask you to do intervals, for example. I'm sorry, I don't remember the days right now. It's either Tuesday, Thursday, one of those days, where I'm asking you to do a particular, like, let's say a kilometer, and I'm saying rest for a little bit, like for a 2-3 minutes walk or whatever, and then yet repeat again, and then do it again. And my request is from the very beginning, and I'm not expecting anyone to do it on day one. For the first kilometer, the first 500 meters, whatever the distance or time be, try to do it as fast as you will do it in the sixth repetition. Okay. Now, what I'm training you for is, if it were a race, if it were a 21 kilometers or a 10 kilometers, I'm already in our training program making you do it in equal times, or expectation at least, or at least that's what you're
Okay.
striving to do, right? It might take us a month or two to kind of really get it right. It's okay. It's totally fine, because the best of them don't get it right. Okay. As you are doing it during that, on a weekday, this is a weekday program that I'm talking about. I'm not pushing you on a Sunday for this. When you start doing that and again, just don't get all fixated on the numbers. I'm just being random. Imagine that kilometer is being done in 7 minutes. And again, next time you do the next kilometer in a 7 minutes, and the next kilometer in a 7 minutes, with those breaks in between of a minute walk or whatever. Initial kilometer would have felt very easy for that 7 minute kilometer. The next one is a little bit more difficult. The next one's a little bit more difficult. By the fifth, you're really struggling to keep it up. And by the last one, you're like, oh my God, I'm barely getting there, kind of a thing, right? Now, this could be you in the third week that you're doing this. And again, I'm just being random, right?
Okay.
By the fourth, it's becoming a lot easier by the fifth and the sixth rep. And by the fourth or the fifth or the sixth week, you're like, hey, listen, I mean, this makes sense, right? I'm not getting tired with each any of those repetitions. Yes, it's an effort, but it's not crazy effort. And now I know what to do with each of those kilometers. Now, once we start doing this, you're starting to now figure out how to go about it. Had you not paid attention to the way I'm talking to you and trying to explain things to you, you would have started the first kilometer in a 5:30, okay, thinking that you can do the kilometer in 5:30 without appreciating that there are 6 more to go, right? Or 5 more to go.
Okay.
And by the next kilometer, you're already actually doing it in, say, 5:45, because you just can't go any faster, right? And the next is 6 and a 6:15 and a 6:30 and all that with your best efforts, right? The problem was you started too quickly. What I'm actually saying is, I'm not saying start awfully slow. I'm not saying that. I'm saying start at say a 6 maybe, or a 6:15. I'm just saying start 15 or 30 seconds slower only, right? And that is generally your average pace anyways by the fifth or the sixth kilometer. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So the point is, the average pace becomes better than your pace had you gone too quick to begin with. right? So that's what I was trying to address. And again, I'm saying that our program already is addressing that. Okay. Now, in running, we talk about something called, probably this is more knowledge right now, but why not? Yeah. And this is supposedly democracy, so why not? So what happens is there's a term called negative splits. Now, negative splits is about you start slower and you start getting faster with each repetition as it happens, right? Or the classic negative splits are when the first half is slower than second half is faster. Now,
Oh, okay.
if you're a smart runner, that is very achievable. That's not a very difficult thing, by the way, right? People make too much of a hue and cry about a negative splits and all that. I mean, it's so doable. You have to be smart about it. You have to be intelligent about it. And that just shows how much of a mature runner you are if you are able to do a negative split. Okay. And I think, we'll do that. I think all of us can do that. Okay. Um, yeah. So I think that's really it.
Yeah, one more question. Now, this is
Yeah.
not from your charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, so there's a statement as you was I think touching upon last Saturday also I guess कि अरे बहुत पतला है कहाँ दौड़ रहा है गायब हो जाएगा ठीक है. Now what is the background behind it? Means what is the story behind? Means is there means what is the scientific evidence behind that? What exactly is that?
Nahin, so
Is this true or what? Uh,
no. What is true? Sorry? What is the question there?
so like I'm already thin. So now somebody says, okay, अरे तू इतना पतला है तू गायब हो जाएगा फिर तू क्यों दौड़ रहा है तू ठीक है तो is there some truth in this statement?
Yeah, see, we are from a country where healthy is supposed to be planet Earth, kind of
Yeah.
right? But okay, I mean, I should I stand corrected. Planet Earth moves at a very quick pace, right? It's very aerodynamic. But the point really is, in Indian terms, healthy is someone who has whose waist is about a 60-inch, and that's healthy, right? Who can't climb stairs, who needs a lift to take a lift, kind of a thing, right? I mean, those two steps, they need a lift there. Now, that's a healthy in our families. So, someone like you and me are considered like, I mean, no one realizes my biceps. I've been working on my biceps nowadays, and no one kind of picks. The point I'm trying to make is, it's a bit of a cultural thing, how it's actually looked at. No one looks at that how it's not about the thin or the fat. I mean, one thing again is, Manmohan, for folks like you and me, another thing to actually look at is thin isn't fit also, right?
Yes.
Thin can be unhealthy as well. A thin can have a diabetes or a heart attack issue as well, right? And it's a bit to do with genetics, and yes, it is to do with the fitness level. Like, what is your
Yeah, my cholesterol are increasing, and my friend is saying you cannot have cholesterol actually.
precisely
Yeah.
my point. Precisely my point. So today, and again, it can be reversed as well. A person could be a little chubby and could be a lot more healthier than someone who's actually thin.
Yep.
you know so all I'm really saying is, for me, an assessment of saying how healthy you are, let's climb a flight of stairs,
Yeah.
right? Because you're doing strength training already, because you're kind of raising your leg up a little, and I mean, let's see that. So basically, it isn't about the look only. I think there's more than the look. Under the surface, thin or fat isn't enough to call someone healthy or unhealthy either way. Now, I'm not saying really, again, a totally rounded person either, right? Or someone who's totally, his bones are protruding from everywhere possible. Either or, right? So I think there isn't enough science when people, not enough. I mean, there's no science to it. When people say "Tu ud jayega" or wo sab karke, yeah, I've heard this since I was born. Yeah, don't do this, you'll disappear. I haven't disappeared yet. I mean, I eventually will, but not yet. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah, sorry for touching upon this question.
No, no,
This is
no, no,
out
no.
of this thing.
It's actually no. It's Manmohan. It's actually very relevant because a lot of people don't get started because of this issue. मैं तो पहले से ही पतला हूँ, मैं पहले से ही पतली हूँ types, right? Uh, uh, we can talk about nutrition. There's another issue we have, right? Bulimia and all that stuff that is there, anorexia nervosa, all that. That's a separate point altogether. We can cover that sometime later because that will take half an hour, 45 minutes easily.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
So unrelated to this, I've seen some runners who are actually doing good distance, but they still can maintain a tummy. That beats me.
Tummy. Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
it possible?
Yes, it is. So
I'm really looking at decreasing my waist size by at least 2-4 inches. So this got me worried.
awesome.
These guys are running and still having a waist size which is not decreasing. So that got me worried.
No, that's very good question, Rishabh. So basically, see, it's very common amongst ultra runners, for example, this whole thing about paunch. Now,
Yeah.
what they do is they're not fast runners; they carry on forever, and they feast while they're running also. And
Okay.
when I used to do my ultras and all that stuff, Paris to marathon, all
Hmm.
that steady stuff, um, I used to, while I was training, I would eat an extra large, extra cheese on it, pizza that would be there. While I was running, I would finish it off. Okay, now how am I supposed to lose weight if I'm doing all of that? Okay, all that stupid stuff.
Okay.
So all
Uh-huh.
I'm saying is, I mean, as much as I'm more of a activity person, all that, if I were to talk about nutrition and physical activity, nutrition comes number one.
Hmm.
If you aren't
Okay.
eating well, seriously, there's no conversation on about how healthy is the physical activity itself, right? A lot of runners, what they do is they justify their poor eating habits because they run, and
Hmm.
that's a very bad way to go about it. And
Hmm.
it can go awfully wrong. Cholesterols can go awfully wrong, and blood sugars can go awfully wrong, and the family will keep wondering what's going on. So all I'm
So
saying,
what? Sorry to interrupt. Please carry on.
So I was just saying, Rishabh, that if you're eating well, no, that common sense eating well, you're doing okay. Number one.
Hmm.
The second thing I'll say is strength training is actually yet again far more important than just running.
Okay.
So that's why we have that component in already in some capacity, saying please do strength training, right? Don't need gym, but please do it. Actually, before we go, I mean, this is the other point I wanted to cover today. Uh, one second. So, there's a dumbbell here. I mean, I have all kind of sizes and all, but the point is not so much about the dumbbell. What I wanted to do is what movement? Sorry, just give me a second. Am I visible? Yes. All right. So what I want everyone to just do is do this movement. Okay, just do this movement. Okay. All right. Now, what I want everyone to do is, and I'll put the metronome. One second. Hold on. I'm sorry, I just completely forgot. This is what I was wanting to do today. So, and again, it'll just take like 5 minutes. So, it'll just give you an idea what I want to do. All right. So, what you can hear here, can you hear that tip, 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 tip thing? Okay. Now, that's how long a second is. It's very long because we think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now, what I want everyone over 4 seconds, you bring your hands up like that. Okay. And 4 seconds for the movement is actually very fast. Okay. Right. And yes. Right. All the way. So you're basically going all the way down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's just do it 10 times. All right. So the same movement. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, we are probably at a 6 right now. I'm not counting at all. So another 3 or 4. Okay. So whole idea is when you do this 4 seconds, you're already feeling that muscle kicking in, especially people who don't do strength training otherwise. Just the simple movement, sorry, just the simple movement is already kicking it in. Now, what we'll try again is one more thing. Sorry, here we're going to do this again because this is still okay. I want you to take it up this way, all right? Again, what we'll do this time, we'll go first time. I'll just put it on a 4 second thing. So we go over 4 seconds. We'll do 3 or 4, and then I want to show you something very interesting after that. And Vishwas, yes, what you just posted. So we'll go this way, okay, over 4 seconds, and down over 4 again. Hold it at the top for 2 seconds. All right. So again, 3 times only this, and then we stop. I'll tell you what to do after that. Okay. So yeah. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold it for 2 seconds. Hold it for 2 seconds at the top. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. Hold it. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This time we'll go up over 10 seconds. Don't hold it at all. Don't worry about it. And we come down over 10 seconds. So we'll go very slow. And only we'll do three repetitions only. Okay, only 3, right? And we're doing without weights right now. So don't even worry about weights. I mean, I don't know why I was showing you the dumbbells. But the whole idea is, again, going to the point about slow is smooth and smooth is fast kind of a thing, okay? 10 seconds, we go very slow. I'll give you the count, so don't worry about counting it. And yeah, please, Vishwas, just count how many repetitions we've done. Because we forget the number of repetitions when we do this. And it's a good thing. We shouldn't worry about number of repetitions, okay? So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last rep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. The only thing I was trying to show here was how just doing 3 reps only, we only did 3 reps, how you could feel those muscles coming in, saying, listen, I can feel those muscles in. We only did 3. Now, the whole idea is we are doing things very quickly. The point isn't about repetitions at all. It's about muscle loading. If those muscles aren't engaged, I mean, what are you counting for? Who's really bothered here, right? The intent is, are those muscles activated, whatever we're trying to do, okay? Hence, please keep them slow, whatever we are doing, because once you do that, you're engaging those muscles, right? If you think this is easy, just increase it to 10, keep it slow, keep each of those movements slow. Keep the count maybe 4 to begin with. 4 to 4 is a very classic, very safe way to do it. As you're getting better at it, there's no need to change exercise and all that. I mean, actually, our man Jagmohan was asking about it. I think just slow it down a little. Let those muscles be activated. If you're only doing that exercise for a minute, it's actually a lot of time. Because if you're taking 20 seconds for a repetitions, in a minute, it's only 3 reps, right? Maybe we do it for a couple of minutes, right? And very, very light weights. Trust me, this kind of a weight, 3, 4 repetitions are seriously okay. I mean, this is not much. What is this? 2.5 kgs. So don't worry about, are we yet doing the dumbbells? I mean, my intent is in this program, I do want by the end of it, people getting onto some bit of weighted exercises, very light ones. Don't worry about, is it a 22 pounds or 22 kgs? None of that. Very light ones. Let's get some movements on, right? And same for cardio, same for strength. So let's load those muscles, okay? So keep the movement slow, please, with the strength training. Squats are a great one. And maybe we can do again just 5 squats, please. So if you just get up wherever you are, we'll do a 4-second thing and we'll do a 10-second thing. All right. So let's just try that. I'll tell you when you're. Okay, so when everyone's ready, so you have 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this time we'll do 10 seconds. Okay, so 10 seconds to go down, 10 seconds to come up. Okay, so we'll be very slow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, halfway, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, now probably with this you would have felt a bit more, right? So ideas, I mean, I'm just trying to show that, listen, slow it down. You might think that you can do 10 of them or 100 of them or 1,000 of them. I mean, yes, do it. I mean, I've made people do thousands of them. But the point is, slow down because that's where the muscles are loaded more. Otherwise, the pendulum.
Very important lesson. Very important lesson. I think just finish off five rounds of your squats fast is much more easier than doing this.
Precisely my point. I mean, the 3 that we just did, it makes you sweat. Just the 3 of them. So even if you're doing for a load, so the whole point really is time under load. That's a very important term in strength training that not enough people pay attention to, TUL. So even if a minute or 2 minutes are enough for an exercise, right? Just 6 repetitions are great. We don't need to do like 100 or a 10, even a 10. And Rishabh, again, a very interesting fact for you. When as rehab we talk about 10 repetitions, 3 sets, कोई science नहीं है उसके पीछे. It's out of thin air because 10 is a double digit, first double digit. 3 is a sexy number. Hence, everyone does 10 repetitions, 3 sets. I mean, no logic, zero logic. So yeah, just slow down with the exercises. I mean, that I just wanted to demonstrate, how powerful it can be when you're actually going slow, right? And then we can do a lot better. Also, what you're doing is you're controlling yourself. So when we were doing the squats, you really now know, how to kind of control yourself, left versus right, all of that, left pressure, right pressure, all that. Okay. Cool. All right. Any questions? Because again, it's been an hour anyways. But any questions?
Just one question from me. On the rest days, can I do yoga or something? Is it perfectly fine?
Ma'am, yes and no. It depends how tiring it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because see, the rest day is meant rest. So if you think it's it's a good recovery. If you feel fresh after yoga, why not, right?
Okay.
But if you think it's kind of tiring you out a bit too much, you need to kind of balance it. We do need, with a program like this, we do need 2 rest recovery days. Very important.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so we'll see you guys. I about this Wednesday, Gagan. So Gagan, what am I saying? Jagmohan is off what day onwards?
So from Friday onwards.
Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
Friday.
All right, so see you guys then on Wednesday with Jagmohan, and then next Saturday as well.
Yeah.
Right. See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ajay. Yeah.